Good morning. I'm just kind of curious, to what extent are you your brother's keeper? Well, apparently in North Carolina, you are expected to be your brother's keeper. And if you are not your brother's keeper, it is illegal. That's right. So when we're talking about sex offenses and how they are treated in North Carolina, you have to wonder how many people signed on to or failed to advocate against this law. So here's what I'm talking about. If you go down here, I'm going to try to pull it up and share it right now. So you have somebody in North Carolina who has been charged with not reporting somebody who was um, convicted of a sex offense. I say that because that's a different thing than being a sex offender. I know that some people love the labels. I was sparring with a guy yesterday, but truly, they are different things sometimes. All right. There are people who, like me, are on the registry who did not commit a sex offense. Nobody is out there saying we committed a sex offense, or in my case, attempted to. I have maintained my innocence because I am innocent, but they don't particularly care about that. In fact, in recognition of this sort of thing, the writ of actual innocence in many cases has started to expand, and more of the innocence projects are taking sex offense cases because they recognize that they may not be as advertised. So I object to this. Reporting a sex offender, reported somebody convicted of a sex offense. He may or may not be an offender. In any event, he was found at a daycare near Fayetteville, and you know there was a second arrest involved, but it wasn't the guy who was the sex offender who was found at the daycare. It was somebody else. Okay. You did have, first of all, let's look at the so-called offender. His name was Calvin Elliott of Parkton. He was 26 years old, and he was convicted of indecent liberties with a minor in 2022. Not cool, not supportive of that. Of course not. Okay. And he is being charged with being a sex offender on child premises. I don't know what North Carolina's how they have set up their sex offender registry, but it would appear by this article that he's being charged with being on the premises, and that is illegal. I'll give you an example here in Virginia. If you are a tier one, as I am, you are not disbarred from being on school property. You are asked to leave, of course, if they don't want you there, but that's true of anybody. If you're a parent, I've been in enough schools where there are certain parents, rare though it was, but they were barred from the property because they made threats. They were violent when they got there. They were hitting people. They were hitting other people's children, and so they were barred from the property. Suffice it to say, if you go to any place and the people who own it do not want you to be there, they can ask you to leave. But that does not mean anybody who is a low level so-called offender is naturally barred from there. So we want to make sure that point is made, because many people who have gone after me on my site do not understand how the rules work, and they're too lazy to look them up. Okay. So the following day, 27-year-old Marsha Renee Brown, also of Parkton, and I don't know if there's any relation between these two people. She was taken into custody in connection with the incident. Okay. She was at the daycare. Apparently, she recognized Mr. Elliott, and she did not report him as is required, which brings the question, what would the charge be? Well, she's charged with failure to report a sex offender's noncompliance, a felony offense. So this woman was charged with a felony. Now, she didn't observe him doing anything. We don't even know by the article so far what he was there for. She was just required to report him, and now she has a felony for that. Now, before you trolls out there start salivating and blubbering and saying, well, she should. A, we don't know what happened. B, if there was any other incident that did not have the word sex involved in it in your neighborhood, and you were similarly charged, you would be going apeshit right now to demand that you not be charged for something. But somehow, if it has the word sex involved, you think the other guy should be charged. And that's just pretty much ridiculous because you don't know what happened. You don't have any idea. Did this person do anything? They were charged, they did their time, and so now, if somebody is shoplifting, they should never be allowed to go into a grocery store and get groceries, apparently. That's the mindset behind some people who are commenting out there. Okay. Now, this is the second time in 2 months that Elliot has been accused of entering a daycare. He was previously arrested after being seen at a different daycare. Okay. But that's the end of the article. We don't know why he was at the daycare. Don't you want to know? Before I pass judgment on this guy, I want to know, did he have a kid? Did he have some baby mama out there and he wanted to see his own child and she wouldn't let him? Maybe there was a court order, maybe there wasn't. I have been subject to that for years before I was ever convicted or had anything against me at all, simply because I went to court to fight for my rights as a father, and they took every right away from me for absolutely no reason. And it's just what's ridiculous, folks. This morning, this is an aside, but I'll work my way around to it. So this morning, I had to look something up as I was writing on my book, and I looked at my court record. And I'm looking at my record, and everything that's in the record is from 2018 and to the present. Okay. Well, to 2021, actually, not the present, but basically in that time frame from 2018 to 2025. And all of that, the creditors coming after me, garnishments, being arrested 5 times, even though it was for nothing, or being placed in handcuffs, I should say. All of that stems from that one single erroneous incident. All of that stems from them getting it wrong once. And once you are on the wrong side of the law, everybody tends to think that that's your fault and that the law is not culpable at all. But look at this. The article ends. There's nothing more to it. The article doesn't continue. It doesn't tell you anything more. Don't you want to know? And why would this woman have a felony charge? I can see if he had attempted to do something to a child and she observed it and said nothing. That makes perfect sense. But are we going to start deputizing people now? Is that the way you want to have it work? Because then maybe if you see a drunk driver and you're caught on camera in that vicinity driving down the expressway, you should be held culpable because as you steered your car out of the way, you should have immediately steered over the side of the road and called the police. You should have immediately gone to a police station and reported that. Why not? That seems reasonable to me. To what extent should we deputize people? That's the question. And to what extent, by the way, should we understand what he was doing at the daycare center? Because it doesn't sound like he was doing anything wrong, according to the article, which is silent on the most salient features. Hit me back. Let me know what you think.